Welcome to Hatman Strats Back Daily Boxing News. In Billy Nelson's latest interview, and oh yes, we all love a Billy Nelson interview, he's once again talking about this infamous sparring session between Martin Bakole and Daniel Dubois, where, according to him, Bakole schooled Dubois, broke his nose, stopped him, and made him quit. He says that he was there himself and witnessed it. He also says that Barry McGuigan was there. And of course, at the time, Daniel Dubois was trained by Shane McGuigan, Barry's son. And because of this incident, Billy Nelson thinks it's very unlikely that Daniel Dubois will fight Martin Bakole anytime soon. Bakole, of course, has just been ordered to fight Ajit Kabayel in a final eliminator for the IBF title. If Bakole were to take that fight and win, he would become mandatory for Daniel Dubois, or the winner of the Dubois-AJ rematch, if that indeed happens. Billy Nelson suggested that Daniel Dubois might actually elect to vacate his belt rather than face Martin Bakole in the ring. Now, a lot of people won't be convinced by the stuff that Billy Nelson is saying here. Not that they'll necessarily doubt the way the sparring session went according to him, but the idea that Daniel Dubois would rather vacate his belt than fight Martin Bakole, some people, maybe a lot of people, perhaps the majority of people, will not believe that. And this is based upon Daniel Dubois coming of age over the past 12 to 18 months. Yes, he suffered those two defeats to Joe Joyce, that was over 18 months ago, obviously, but also to Alexander Usyk. He quit both times. But since then, he's come back with wins over Jarrell Miller, who was a big bad bully, alpha male type. Dubois beat the stuffing out of him and stopped him in the 10th round. Another very alpha heavyweight in Filip Hrgovic, who also claimed to have beaten up Dubois back in the days in sparring. Dubois stopped him as well, and then he went in there and destroyed Anthony Joshua in 5 rounds. So Dubois' confidence is going to be absolutely through the roof at this stage. As such, perhaps he'll believe, regardless of what happened in their sparring session back in the days, that he would also get the better of Martin Bakole in a professional fight right now. And if that is the case, then maybe Billy Nelson will be proven wrong. And rather than vacating the belt, if Martin Bakole becomes mandatory, Dubois might say, bring it on. We will find out in due course. All I will say is, I hope the fight happens. In fact, I hope the Dubois rematch with AJ doesn't take place. For several reasons. One, because the first fight was completely one-sided. So why would you want to see a return of a one-sided fight? Secondly, because it was a voluntary defense for Daniel Dubois. Why would there be a two-way rematch clause for a champion making a voluntary defense? I don't agree with that at all. A one-way rematch clause, yes, because the champion is giving the challenger an opportunity he doesn't have to give him. But a two-way rematch clause where if the challenger loses, he gets to enforce a rematch as well? No, totally disagree with that. Number 3, because I think it's a bad move for AJ. He got destroyed in such devastating fashion first time around. There's a very real possibility that it could be even worse second time around. And at the age of 35, as he will be at the time, I don't think you really want to play with your health like that. And the 4th reason is because there's far too many rematches in boxing, particularly in heavyweight boxing. It holds the division up. I want to see new matchups, not the same matchups over and over again, not reruns. And Dubois versus Bakole is one of the matchups I really want to see. So forget about AJ, he's done. Let's see Daniel Dubois versus Martin Bakole. And of course, Bakole's going to have to get past Ajit Kabayel first before that fight happens. And who knows, maybe Ajit Kabayel upsets the apple cart. Maybe he does a similar job on Martin Bakole that Michael Hunter did back in the days. He's certainly got the mobility and he's proven himself to be very capable in recent fights. But let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section below. Billy Nelson with his usual bravado, championing his charge, Martin Bakole, doubling down on what he claims happened in that sparring session back in the days. He says he'd be very confident of Bakole beating Ajit Kabayel. Let's see if that fight actually happens. Talk is cheap, the proof is in the pudding. If Bakole gets past that, Billy Nelson thinks there's a very real possibility that Daniel Dubois will vacate his belt rather than fight Martin Bakole. What say you? And before I go, make sure you check out these videos that I've just uploaded to my Patreon page. One of them is a nearly 3-hour career review on Riddick Bowe, where I analyze footage of many of his most significant fights. So this is not the screenshots I use on YouTube. This is actual video footage of his fights. And I've also uploaded this video of the first round of Beterbiev versus Bivol, where I'm actually counting the number of punches landed, because CompuBox for that particular round was way off. not even close to being accurate. The real punch stats for that round were far closer than CompuBox had them, and they missed the best punch of the round, which was actually landed by Artur Beterbiev. That's a fact. That's not conjecture. I show it in this video in slow motion, in HD, so there can be absolutely no doubt whatsoever. If you want to access this video along with hundreds of hours worth of other exclusive boxing content, as well as our members chat, just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called the Boxing Brotherhood. There's no contract, no commitment. You can cancel at any time, just like Netflix, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper. Just download the app from the Play Store or the App Store. All the links are in the description box below.